Okay, hello everyone. Today we will work on the project for data ingestion. It is part of model 4, and we'll try to look different patterns for data ingestion. And also I'm going to use AI assistant to help me work faster. And then I probably will use the Snowflake trail account. So you even can think about, imagine you need to create a data warehouse in the organization, and you're going to find like what kind of data storage you need to use, what kind of data ingestion tools you need to use, where to host, and so on. Usually then you start to work with data analytics project, you have just 2 things in place, or even one. The one is data source, so actual business applications data, any kind of data. And then the second thing, what you usually have is business questions. So some stakeholders that requires the data to analyze. If you don't know why you bring the data, it's better to clarify, because it's very important to solve actual business problems. I know it's very comfortable just building pipelines and write the code without understanding why, but for the hiring manager, the most important topic, why we're doing this. That's why, yeah, you can find like stakeholders, understand why they need this data, because even if you look to any particular API tool, you can have a bunch of tables, and you don't need usually all those tables, maybe just 2 or 3. Here, that could be idea of our project. What we need for this project, AWS account, VS Code, where we can deploy our cursor, and GitHub account, because ideally you need to push later code into your repo. And as a target, we can use Snowflake, we can use anything we want, and Docker, because we'll start. Idea is simple. What I want to start, so it's also covering what is API, but before this, so for example, prototyping, it just, and by the way, I made some people co-host, so you can try to admit if someone will join us. And the first 3 people who join us, they can admit. So usually this method is a simple one, right? We just want to work with create the local Python script, and it could be anything, even not the Python, doesn't matter. And you might have some data in a S3 bucket, and you want to push it into Snowflake. So this is more like prototyping, one-time exercise. And then we will take local Python script and put inside Docker container. So then we want to check what is AWS Lambda to do exactly this, but through the Lambda function. And it's very strong pattern to use the functions to execute your Python, because basically Lambda is, imagine, is some kind managed compute that can execute your Python code, or not specifically Python, any code. That's why it calls serverless. Then we will try to switch from very simple ways of doing things like maybe pandas or copy command to doing exactly the same, but with polars and DuckDB. So polars, this is, I think, I forgot how they call it, but it's the polars and PyArrow. This is the packages to work with data. They more memory efficient than pandas. So I don't use pandas anymore anywhere. So, and I actually try to use DuckDB. And we have videos about both polars and DuckDB and PyArrow. Okay. Oh, even here, looks like Snowflake, we're just starting using it from here. And then we will add the scheduling step. First, using simple approach with AWS Batch and step functions. they both can schedule your stuff. For example, Glue, because Glue by itself doesn't have the schedule, so you need to attach this something to run. Or maybe it has, I don't know, we need to check. And then we'll check AWS Glue and Athena. And I showed example of Athena in AWS Glue in Model 5, exactly for the hands-on with this AWS Data Lake. And then we'll also check the Fivetran. So this is a kind no-code solution. And finally, if we have time, we can get to Airflow. Yeah, okay. Let me open VS Code.
Did you want to accomplish everything in one session?
We will see how much I can do it of it. If not, right. Because I was planning like a couple hours, and we'll see. If not, I will schedule time for the second part, and everyone will able to come. Because the nice thing about this, if you understand, so it's a kind all the same. You have same API GitHub and same data set, and basically same table in the database. But we will try all possible methods for the batch ETL. Mm-hmm. And if you ever work with data engineering, this will be one of them. Like, its alternative could be maybe something in Azure or Google Cloud.
Yeah. So then I don't need to present my Snowflake presentation because you're going to cover this right now.
No, you need because I won't go in details about this.
All right, so sounds good.
Your project is an actual very dedicated project. Mine more like very high level.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dima.
Things. Yeah.
Okay.
And I forgot, Sergey, when is your project?
Actually, tomorrow. But seems like tomorrow is everybody has a holiday, or still everybody's up to?
I don't know. I don't have plans tomorrow.
Sounds good. That's great.
Yeah, I will come. Yeah, and everyone can. And you will have Airflow and Snowflake, right?
Actually, I'm not going to have Airflow because it's just Snowflake. I'm going to do the batch load, bulk load, and the snow pipe, not the streaming one, but they use a copy command, and then discuss how to set up integration, basically end-to-end. I have notebooks prepared so I can share as well.
Perfect. No, that's great. Yeah, I didn't work Snowpipe much. Yeah, this will be interesting.
Okay.
I don't know where's my repo data projects here. Not anymore. No, I will just start the new one. Okay. So we start with clean thing. What I have here. Here, I can run terminal, and in terminal, two things available for me. One is agent. Agent is Cursor CLI. This Cursor CLI, because I have Cursor as well. And then another one is Cloud. Yeah. This, I don't know. This is some kind of Tamagotchi they have. Then you do this command, hatch a coding companion. So yeah, I don't know what is it. So I enable this and it's growing here. Okay. And so let me look to my task. Go on. assuming we'll call Python. And I will tell what I want. The nice thing about these workshops now, I can just ask AI to build this thing and I can talk over. So it saves lots of time for me. It's my folder and my demo. So I just copy basically from GitHub the week 1 task and let it create a markdown file with the plan. Or usually what we can do, because currently it's run in agent mode, we can switch to the plan mode. And it actually will first create the plan. We can save the plan, and then we can modify the plan and adjust. And meanwhile, I can go and try to create a sample Snowflake account for our purpose. And the Snowflake now has Cortex CLI. Maybe it's something with OpenAI. I don't know. Never tried. Okay, if I did everything right, they should send me email. They did. Yeah, they asked me to activate my Trail account. Asked me to create the username and the password. So we have it, 400 credits. It's still creating the file. It's even trying to test that all the Python code's working.
And what did you paste in that
Here, I pasted
line?
here.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
I just tell it, like, make it step by step for me from this. Okay, I will add another folder. The next one we'll do a kind of like similar, but with Docker. The nice thing about Docker, because there is no much value in the local development. In the local development, it's good to prototype, but the Docker actually, it's the way how you can put in production something. Imagine if you have Airflow, then you Airflow running on ECS containers, and you can pull another container from ECS, and this container will have your Python program. This one way. Or I think when you're running Lambda, maybe also you can test your code in the independent environment, because then you start containers like fresh operation systems like Ubuntu with no any dependencies, so you can install all the packages and test that it works. Docker. Okay, so we have it here. I will rename it to 1. Yeah, maybe today if we will finish local Python, Docker, and Lambda, and the schedule for the Lambda will be very good enough for start. Okay, so here we can see what we have. We have virtual environment, and right now at work I usually using UV. UV is a like package manager. This one. It's a kind. It has poetry and all together. So it's a package manager and environment manager in one, and it's built in Rust. So it should be like very efficient. So if any time you start new project with Python, try to use UV. Okay. So I can activate it. I can split it. And go to this directory. And I can activate the version environment. So now it tells me I'm inside version environment. And I think there should be command to install. Okay, we create Snowflake trail. We might also need to create AWS account. I have mine, so I will just log in. And it tells us for AWS account, we need to have I'm user. We need I'm user to be able connect from the local machine to the AWS itself. That's why you can like create the user and do the configuration locally. So I will show you how to do this and what it means. And then they're gonna use, so as soon as we create the user with those permissions, we can also create the bucket. And inside the bucket, we need to put the file, and then we will configure AWS CLI to use our user. And for the Python, we will use the library that calls Boto3. It's basically the same as AWS CLI, but for the Python to do different kind of tasks. It's all good. And what we can do, I can use my agent. So first, let me log into my AWS account and show what I have there. And all those steps, they're very applicable in the way, if, for example, they hired you as a data engineer, analytics engineer, data analyst to build some kind of analytics, or you joined the company with AWS. So this is what you need to expect. Like you obviously need to ask them how you can access AWS account from CLI, or because you probably need to work with S3 buckets where the data to write it, to read it, and other services. So for all of these, you need to set up this kind of integration. Okay, I'm now logging to my AWS account. Yeah, this is my AWS account. And usually we can create new user here I'm a user, and I have, for example, this is my admin user with admin permissions, and I already assign access key for it. So, and I already configure it on my local machine. But what I want to do now, I want to use this admin user locally to create another user here, because we can create the user here. Just create user, type it, and then we create the user. We can assign permissions here, permissions policy. This now this user has access to everything. It's like admin, but we can. Our goal is to create with least privilege user, so the user has the least privilege. So what I can do here, I can say I want, and we can use a bit of new folder. AWS infra. And what I can say, I want to create, first I want to see a list of my AWS profiles for CLI. Because I don't remember their names, then I configure it, so it will show me probably a couple. And you see it's executing AWS configure list profiles and telling me which one. Why so complicated? Yeah, I can copy this command and see it myself. I think I might need one of them. So I need to know which one to use. I need to ask, okay, which one is, and maybe it's not secure because basically my cursor agent now reading those credentials file. You see, this is where they're storing .aws credentials. It identify the security risk. It suggests me to rotate my credentials. Okay, so yeah, it's profile Surfalytics. So now, if I do this, so just my session will always have the profile Surfalytics, and I can say AWS S3 LS. I usually test with this. Interesting. It doesn't. We can troubleshoot and see why it doesn't like it. Okay, doesn't like Surfalytics one. Let's try personal. Doesn't like personal one. Okay, the local one works. Interesting. And that's very typical problem because I'm creating many users and they yeah. So I have this Surfalytics, I have admin local, admin. I have no idea which one is what. Maybe we used admin local, but we can keep this one. And now next I want to say, okay. And maybe I can clear my session. So, and I'm using cursor agent instead of Claude. Claude is better, but cursor is cheaper. That's why I'm trying to use as much as possible cursor. And recently I switched to cursor agent CLI instead of have traditional chat window. The reason is because here I can open multiple tabs of agent, and they can do different tasks with the same repo, or even I can create multiple branches for the same repo using work tree. And that's why I encourage you to use this kind of CLI. And also you get used to CLI more and more. So what we want to do, I have this profile, and I want to use CloudFormation. So CloudFormation, if you watch the Model 5, it's infrastructure as a code. It's basically the simple YAML files to build stack in AWS account. And the nice thing about this, if you build it, you can simply delete it. Then you don't need it, because I don't need to click around in AWS to create it. So CloudFormation stack for that will include user, S3 bucket, S3 bucket, policies. And I want to configure AWS CLI file. So now I ask to create new user that we're going to use for our lab, and it will create the CloudFormation. So now you see example of the CloudFormation as well. And this is infrastructure as a code, very simple. It also encourages us to create new repo. What we can do while this is running, I can go here and say, hey, do you have access to my GitHub repo? Use GH. This is a GitHub repo CLI. To list my repos, just to see, do I have access or not? And if you don't have it, if you don't use GH, install it for GitHub, or any Git system has the CLI client. It's extremely well. So all work I do with agent, then I ask like, hey, use this CLI tool to create the pull request for me. And that's it. It can see this is my account, most recent repos. Okay. In the Surfalytics, I want to create a new repo. And sync it with the root folder. Because again, I can do it myself. I can go to GitHub. I can create a repo in GitHub. So if I go here, and if I go to my Surfalytics repos, here I can create new repository, and then I need to connect it locally. Instead, agent will do this. Okay. It is working. So, and most of my days is happening like this, where I give task to the agents, and I just jumping from one to another. And I can run not many, like 3, 4 at the same time. And I prefer YOLO regime mode than it's asking less questions, because this is kilocode. I'm using this on the Windows machine, and I'm using this in the place where I don't have access to Claude, Anthropic, and this is kind of like my backup, so I can install this plugin on the Windows machine where I don't have admin rights, and then I can find the way how I can configure it. How I can configure it in the way. So in the way it can access my Anthropic account, because there are different ways to. If organization block you from accessing AI, and it's happening in the big enterprises usually, then you can find the way how to do it. And then it's so cool. In those organizations that everyone blocked to use AI, you can use AI, and basically you just work one day at a time, because your AI in YOLO time can build so many things, and if it has access to AWS, to the code and data, it can do everything for you, and it can troubleshoot everything for you. Okay, so now it's doing something, but basically just will run GitHub CLI to create and sync. So here we eventually should get something. Okay, and our other agent here, cursory task, okay. And it's, I probably didn't tell that I create the folder. This one, I don't need it. So, and this is what's happening. It creates the CloudFormation, and it creates the stack. So CloudFormation, since we're doing this, they have here the service CloudFormation, and this is kind of like native default way of build resources in AWS. I don't really like it. Probably I like more Terraform, but here we can create the stack. So this is what we currently do. Agent currently create the stack as a YAML file, but here we can create the stack, and I can use the UI. What is infrastructure composer? You see, I can use drag and drop mechanism to build something. I don't know how they're connecting, but this is how it looked like. So I just do drag and drop, and I can have it in YAML and JSON. And this is just instruction. And if you remember Azure experience, then they have this RM JSON instructions. Because interesting thing about AWS, then I click the button, it's basically calling API. So for AWS, it doesn't really matter, am I write Python bot a free library, am I write AWS CLI, or I'm clicking here. For AWS, it's everything is API calls. That's why. And somewhere under hood is basically then we going through, I don't know, if I going to create any kind of resources, and I will start creating databases, it will create this kind of JSON YAML file and then submit to API and create resource for us. But here it's just nicely wrapped into UI. Yeah, they always ask everything. And the nice thing about AI, so if you don't understand any file here or why doing it this way, you can always ask to clarify. Okay, so we can see what this template will does. So this template, its description, its parameters, bucket name, these resources. So it will create the bucket name, and it will have bucket name prefix and AWS account ID to make it unique. It will by default apply this hashing algorithm, like encryption algorithm. You can see it's all the same you can do in UI. It add tags. It will create the user. Surfalytics data ingestion. It will attach policy, like all the policy what this user can do. And it gives us output bucket name, bucket RN. It's like unique ID of the bucket. Region, ingestion, I'm a user, access ID. Because the nice thing about this, then we're gonna create AWS Lambda. We will probably use something similar. Okay, let me check what they. Yeah, today is a holiday in Canada, but not in US. Okay, so and AWS profile local. They use this shell script to do deployment. So we can see deploy the stack. So, and this is the script. Yeah, but basically the most important part, it's the same AWS CLI command, CloudFormation deploy. And then it uses profile, region, stack name, template, file path. I don't know what's this. And that's it. And it has no task to describe it. So, and it gives us instruction. And here I have my CLI. So I can now, I can use trying to deploy it. Oh, let's go to the scripts. So I'm inside this folder, and now I can execute this permission there. And then I think we need to do this this command, I think mod, and we need to make this file executable, something like this. I don't. Okay, yeah. So this is a chmod command. It's change the permissions for files, because then you create new shell script file, you need to make it executable. So, and this is running just AWS CLI command for CloudFormation deploy, and it's using this as instruction, what to deploy. And then it's running it. It should be here. Yeah, it's convenient to troubleshoot this thing. And I think for any projects that you're gonna build from now on, and I do this always, I'm trying to use infrastructure as a code, not because it's very beneficial for your job and career to know how those things work and what they mean, but it's just the best way to manage resources that you created and then tear them down. Especially if in my case, I have my credit card attached to AWS account, I don't want to any extra spending on it. So nothing yet here, but I think as soon as it will finish, region US East 1, and it's creating stuff for me. US East 1, I'm switched to this region. This is my stack, and I can see that it's success. And if I want, I can just go here, delete the stack, and it will delete all resources. So it is here, it's deployed, okay. we deployed these. Okay. And then they have extra script that will switch, but I don't want to point. I can say Python point. I want to have new file slot. And now I can come and see how's my other agent doing. Because here we trying to wrap it as a repo. So it tells me my repo is ready, and we can check. Yeah, you can see it's already here. So it push one code, and then after I can create a README file. But now, because Claude push it, contributors, you can see it's Claude. And then, yeah, you can see at your work, like if people using agents, they usually have sign. But if I will push it myself, if I will open pull request and push code myself, the Claude won't be appearing here. Yeah, code is here. And for you, if you especially don't understand what's happening, try to do everything less agent use. Just especially like those simple things to create the repo, push the code, even just go and create infrastructure. Okay, we done with this. Okay, okay, we have new script here. That should do something for us. Okay, it's configured the user. STS get caller identity, this popular command, just to see do I have active tokens for this session. So yeah, this is my user ID, it's AWS account, and yours. Okay, assuming we created, we can try to use AWS S3 LS, and we should see, yeah, we don't see anything. We can ask why I don't see a bucket. And also I can go to AWS, find this bucket. Yeah, this is the bucket. You can see permissions. But maybe I need to go to the, we have the bucket. Now we can go to the user and see what policy this user has. This is the new user we have. It has access key and secret key. It has the policy. So it should list the bucket, list name of the bucket. And it should allow us to put objects and download objects from the bucket. Okay, what it tells us. Okay, this command doesn't work because it only grants list bucket for the single one. Okay, maybe it's fine. it probably will work if we copy name of the bucket. Next thing, what we need to do anyway, according to our plan, so we have the GitHub repo, we have AWS account, it's locally connected. We create the virtual environment. To create virtual environment, like those the commands. In our virtual environment, we need to install everything from requirements, txt file. So we can see here we have Bota, pandas, and some other libraries. Here. Yeah, it's installing all the packages. Oh, it's the S3 user. Missed a subject. Okay, finally, this command work for S3 bucket ls. So then I put the right bucket name, and my profile. Some of the libraries didn't resolve. It is fine for now. Can see what we should do next. It even has the Windows guide how to do these requirements files. The pip freeze, if you install any other libraries on top of what you have in your virtual environment, you can save them in this file. And this file will be very helpful for us. Then we move to Docker, because you will, in Docker, you want to install all the packages. That's why you have your file with the packages, at least in their versions. So the next thing, it's just about API, because we want to use GitHub API. I usually use GitHub API because you don't need credentials to log in. But if you're going to use anything with credentials to log in, you have to use this service. It calls secret AWS secrets. This is the best practices for production, secure way of handling your secrets. So here you can store a new secret, and then from the code, you can retrieve the secret and use it. And use key pair, whatever you want, database connection. Even for managed Airflow, the one that we will look at, it has direct integration with AWS secret managers. You don't store any credentials in Airflow, you store everything here. Yeah, but in case if you will use any API that you have token you will save here. As well, to use secret managers, you can use the CloudFormation. It will create secret manager for you. It will give policy to your user that you're working, assuming you're not admin. And yeah, everything will manage for AWS secrets. You even can use what I'm using usually agents. They write the shell scripts, they create credentials, they publish secrets here. Everything's secure, and I just come to secret manager, or I just reference it, even not knowing what actual the password look like. Okay, endpoints. This is yeah, just talking about different endpoints, like repositories we can get. And by the way, if you don't know what's API, I think in simple terms, imagine GitHub has a database, and database like store name of repos and the users, but they don't want to give you access SQL, the user and password. That's why they create application programming interface. So it's kind of like wrapper around database where you can have dedicated commands. So for example, this one will have something select from start from repositories folder, but you wrap it as a code with the call, but it's actually gonna query the data. And I think there is popular service that calls Fast API, allows you to, if you take any database and you want to create API on top of this, you can use Fast API to wrap and create this API service where you can add other, for example, people or other computers can access this data. Yeah, it also tells what is rate limited, because if we not authenticate, we have 60 requests per hour per IP. If we authenticate it with GitHub token, we have 5,000 requests per hour. And if you have rate limit, and it's very popular thing. Then you work as a data engineer. When you build your own Python script, assuming you're not using Fivetran, you're using Airflow, and you calling even Salesforce or any other data, you constantly will hit the rate limits. For example, I used to work with Plate API and some others, and then you need to write some retry logic that will, and you also need to know what is the rate limit rules, how many requests per minute you can send, because if, for example, for Plate, I had 5,000 requests per minute. That's why I ask agent, like, okay, we want to have the Python code that will send request, but let's make sure it's not more than 5,000 per minute. So, and it will send 5,000 requests and then wait, and then next minute it will start again, 5,000 requests. So that's why rate limit is very important. Responses shape, so it's returning you JSON. And here it saves us, it's already created the Python script where it extracting GitHub data. So we can see what this script is about. So, and I try to avoid use classes in Python. And I don't think I ever had the use case that I need the class, except if someone create the software package application. Usually for data, it's just enough to know this on the function level, because every Python script is the same. So you have import your libraries, often very similar, like this one, these, they're all the same, logging, arguments. I don't know, I forget what's annotations for. Using pandas, okay, fine, pandas. This is GitHub API, 100, I don't know, response per page, required fields. I don't know why this is doing. So we enable logging, parse rate limit reset. I think if response, and by the way, this library, yeah, this library request #1 library to working with API. If I don't, doesn't matter, Databricks, Snowpark, anything. If you work with API, you're gonna use request library. So the request library, and we can see where it is using here. So this, for example, request session. So, and we establish session, and then this is what headers, I don't know, JSON file, passing it. So I'm not sure about token, do we need token or not, but yeah, the request library is actually things that will call API and return us JSON file. And then JSON file, here it's also adding a lot of complicated stuff that we don't really need. And what we can ask the agent, okay, just out of experiment. I have this file. I want to create a slim option that will dump the data and the logging. Nothing else. Simple for newbies. Minimum code would be if. So just because this is creating this Python script that probably gonna work, but it's covering lots of kinds of different edge cases. And especially if you're new with Python, it's not much value. But this you can see. This particular repos to rows. So this is when it takes response from API. So assuming some kind of JSON. And then it's flatten this into rows. And you return your rows. And then it takes the rows that you get out of JSON. And you're using pandas data frame. And then you create the data frame here. And from data frame, you save it to CSV file. I'm not sure what bytes means. I can ask it as well. Because this io.string io, so I don't know what is it. Okay. But the idea is simple. Your request library can call API. You can pass the parameters, for example, date start, date end, because this is the same as the ETL applicable. You couldn't fetch like all GitHub history in one call. So if you need many days, you can pass the parameters. As soon as you pass the parameters, you can interactively loop the dates. And for GitHub API, so if we go here, GitHub, every API has the reference doc where we can see for every endpoint. So endpoint is just like the table. And parameters is like where condition for the table. So if I go here and see repositories, first it has quick start. We can use. We even can use the same GitHub CLI to call API and get some stuff on it. But I want to see pull request, for example, pull request endpoint, how it look like. So this is the pull request. This is how endpoint look like. So it's expected that you will pass the owner, the repo name, and the issue number. Maybe it's optional. And here it's describe what kind each parameter means and what you can send. And here they use the curl command. So the curl command, this is a bash thing to running like some URLs. That's it. But sometimes if you want to test API, you can pass those configs for API. So you're passing, okay, what API version, what is your authorization token, and what kind of you expect as output. So this how I can test it from CLI if I want, before even write the Python, just make sure. And again, with the API, you can use many different languages. So here they use the JavaScript. And this is response output. So this kind of API, what kind of things it will return. So, and this what we parse this JSON output of API. Doesn't matter what kind of API, is it GitHub, Salesforce, all will be very similar. And if you understand how to work with one, it means the rest will be the same. That's why if you do exercise with GitHub on the any interview, you can tell, okay, imagine what 5 APIs did you work with, doing the same what we're doing right now, and that's it. And you see it's big JSON, but you can parse it and save into rows. Okay, and it also tell what is it. This function converts data frame to CSV as raw bytes in memory without writing to the disk. Used for S3 upload since put object expects bytes. Okay. Anyway, some kind of intermediate step. But also we have asked to create very simple file. So you see, way less. We only need logging, yes, pandas, and request. That's it. And here, all repos. You can define as a target record, so it will only pulling 1,000 repos, and for 1,000 repos, it will like have 100 per page, and then for each repo, but it's probably still expect GitHub API, and we don't need it. And maybe this is the way we're gonna create it in Secret Manager and save it. I can ask, do I need a GitHub API? Okay, for this one, I don't need. Just, okay. The next step, okay, assuming I can just run my initial script that was generated for me. I need to use Python 3. Okay, it doesn't tell me, it tells me I don't have the model. So probably I need to. I don't know why it's not from requirements coming. With pandas, always problems. Okay. Tells me pandas already here. And I can test it. So if I open Python and I can import pandas, it tells me it is not there. So, but the thing is, we almost finished with the first step. This Python script call API for 1,000 repos, save into CSV file, and then we can, but this is optional. So this is optional step. We have argument, if you want, we can save output to CSV, but ideally, we will pass our parameters, and we need to update it based on what we create with CloudFormation. It will save a CSV file into S3. And then we can go and check what is it. And this is all the different parameters. And what I like agents, they really smart in terms of what kind of arguments adding to a script to covering different cases. And it's also some data quality things. I don't know what it's doing, how. On this list of CC columns we're getting. Yeah, looks nice. So the next step, the two will be very simple. It's basically take all those files and run them inside Docker. So I can call like, hey, run this Python file inside the Docker. And then I can go to the Docker and see that Dockerfile successfully run this program and save the output. Or maybe there is new file uploaded to S3. But since we want to upload this to S3, we need to make sure that our Docker, then we create this, we pass the secrets for AWS. And this is also like common pattern. Yeah, we still battling this thing, Python, PHP. And then if we were able to run it successfully with the Python locally and Docker, it means we can successfully run it with the Lambda. And if we successfully run it with Lambda, it means we can schedule it with the Lambda. And then if we can run it with the Lambda, we can and schedule it, we can shift it to, I don't know, Fivetran is no code, or using Airflow. And then if we successfully export to external systems like S3, we can write these directly to Snowflake as well. So if you, that's it. You just understand sequence of order, you can change it. And then you can talk with confidence on the interview about projects you work. You won't just doing simple things, but because you're doing one simple thing with 5 different approaches, then you can tell about pros and cons of each approach. Like you can say, we start small, just Python scripts and Docker, and then we move to Airflow because it was not enough or slow, or maybe we shift to Lambdas, and from Lambdas shift to Airflow, and vice versa. Okay, maybe the issue is I need to run Python 3 pip install, not the Python. Oh my gosh. Actually, I need to call Claude and tell it, fix the issue with venv to install the Python. That's it. This, and it will use Opus model. So this will fix it. No time. It will activate it. I can maybe ask the same in agent cursor, but it's stupid. Like I think the Claude will more proactive and will offer me to go and troubleshoot it itself. And this is just giving me different things. Like I'm chatting with ChatGPT in the browser. That's why sometimes you can use Claude to create the plan, and then you can call Cursor like cheap agents to build it, and Claude will validate the result. So now it's searching what's not working. And one thing we can try to add, because yeah, okay. For example, I want to create token for my GitHub. I want to create a token for my repo that we have created. The repo names is and save it in secret manager. to call from the Python code using bottom free. Can you do this? I have installed. So what I want to do, I want to show how we can leverage the secrets. And see if it's able to do it. And usually, if you can explain exactly what you need, maybe even better than I do it right now, then you can get exact right result. Also, I want to show one tool I recently installed. I wrote it's free. It calls Handy. So if these things, instead of typing, I can chatting, and it's free. Amazing. With agents, it's work very good. Okay. So, and Opus fixed my problem. Oh, imagine how I'm gonna fix it. It's understood that I remember I renamed the folder from this to 01. That's why it's lost all the paths. Oh, yeah, that's it. Thank you, Opus. So exit here. I deactivate environment and I activate it back. And now I can install it and I can run my Python with dry run. So it's not create the file. See how it goes. Oh, I also can see that it's starting modifying all the code to adding the bot free and secrets manager. So meanwhile, the dry run was successfully, and it tells us, yeah, this is logging library, so this is all logging library. This is what returns us, and no token. That means we run without token. But next time, and this dry run, it will save this file. But because dry run didn't save anything. Okay, we can see what we have here. What was added? Resolve the token disorder or get secret. So secret can be what it suggests us to do. We can probably generate local. This is the token I generated. And then we can run this script with this token. Make it executable. What doesn't like the token? Then I can do This one. It's even, I don't like output. Then I copy the output, it breaks it. So it's not, need to move it back. And I bet if I will use the Opus for the same task, it will be way better. Okay. Let's test it. I want to save the token in AWS secret and use in Python. You'll see. Also, we can see here, it's probably when we have something new, but not related to the secret manager. Can you run yourself? My profile is defined here, but we can run more permissions for lab user first with file local. Here, update AWS stack. Because now I want to use secret manager, my user and the CloudFormation stack doesn't include this user. That's how we're gonna update it. We had very simple idea and request, but unfortunately it took way longer. And this good point about planning. So before create like CloudFormation, ideally I need to plan what kind of resources I need to have, because it's harder later to change because it will so many dependencies on everything. So now it should do something to help us. But meanwhile, we probably still can run this command. This command to save CSV file with 1,000 repos, because we even don't need token for this. I need to activate. It didn't create the local. Maybe it's. I expected to see this sample CSV, but I don't see it. No, didn't save simple, and it wasn't able to access S3. Probably now I would fix it faster myself instead of using agent. did you run the stack? So it tells me it did update the CloudFormation stack. So it tells me it's run the stack. It means in AWS. So here you can see we create the new secret manager. Oh no, actual secret and secret manager. Yeah, that's our token for my GitHub, and it could be anything. So, and it means now if our AWS user has access to the secret, we can call it based on the secret name or secret array name. So, and we get assigned this and pass. Okay. And we can also check the CloudFormation. That it has the new stack available. It's ran the same stack, but it's Git update. Okay, maybe it didn't run the stack. Did you run CloudFormation or not? I think it didn't run the CloudFormation. It just, oh no, it's ran. No, it's ran the CloudFormation, so it did something. What did you add into CloudFormation? Okay, yeah, it's adding those policy. Yes, you can see for my user and for my profile, we granted the access to create the secrets. Okay, we did this. I can, why it didn't save to CC? Okay, dry run or pass line dry. Okay, that's the thing. It didn't save to CSV for us because I deleted dry run flag. So if I will run it dry run, and I can say, and I can also ask why it doesn't use the new secret. And yeah, add this script. Now I ask to modify the script to explicitly call the okay, it creates additional Python file where it will resolve in GitHub API token. So what it should do, it takes the GitHub token that we set. And I don't know why it's using this complicated method, because idea very simple. You have the token, you use the token, and you have access to GitHub API. It's this downside of the agents. They can create very complicated things. It's probably could be combined in one file and smaller. Okay. Let's also tell about this issue. And this very good highlight the work of data engineer, analytics engineer, that assuming you know what should be done, even with help of AI, you have so many little issues that takes time to overcome. And without AI, to create all of these, it will take so much time. Okay, this means it failed because it's not able to create the folder, apparently. It's trying to open folder, but it's not exist. So now it should create the folder. And also, now you can see from the logs, it is using a secret manager, but it failed locate credentials. Interesting. But even without credentials, it can run and save output. Okay. Yeah. This is our output, because we got the JSON output and then we parse it. Okay, let's do two things. For this part, we need to be able to save this into S3 bucket, and we need to resolve this issue with the secret token. Okay. The thing is, we didn't specify the AWS profile. Okay, now it's using GitHub token. So I think in the code, extract GitHub data. In the code, it finally able to find it. Okay. Now it tells me it requires S3 bucket. Yeah. Let's edit from there. And now we have all the informations about all resources we created through this CloudFormation. That's why I can point that's created from the stack. And maybe it should be smart enough to go to see what things we need. And my final thing, what I want to do, we have many SQL files and they overcomplicated for very simple things we do. I want to just create one very simple file. That's it. It's such a pleasure to work with Cloud Code in compare with Cursor agent. Okay, what is doing? So it's we edit now, because it's expected us to passing this argument like S3 bucket, but now I just added default one in the code. Okay. Okay, and maybe I don't need local anymore. And I don't need dry run anymore. Yes, it tells us the file is there. We can go in S3. So when the file finally appears in S3, it means we can do anything we want with this file. So we have the folder GitHub data, and we were successfully upload this file. I don't know, twice. If I run it one more time, this will be the third time. And you can play with any API endpoint to run it incrementally. And maybe then we move to the Airflow topic. We can choose the endpoint that accepts date start and date end, and then we can play with backfill. So now we should have 3 files. Yeah, we have 3 files. It's all good. Now I want to combine all my Python files into one, but very simple. Simple functions, no edge cases, like for a grade with a description for every function, and delete all Python files. Because I always for simplicity, no matter what, and I will sacrifice maybe performance over simplicity. Because in a very rare case, I need to fight some kind of issues with the performance. But usually, yeah, simplicity is good because you can quickly understand, and it's even simple for the agents. If you have simple Python script, it means the agent can doing it with less mistakes in the future. Instead of having like multiple files in the package of the Python codes, it has one simple files. And then I use agents. It's very good to put as much documentations inside the files itself, either SQL, Python, and also you can create README file with the description for the code, what it does. Okay, add README MD about the Python file type. And it will put here in the source, also the file down here. Yeah, we can see how file, it's now simple. So it's the settings, it's config. If you're gonna do it yourself, or you might have different names, you can just update it. So it will first trying to pull GitHub token from environment variable. If not, it will try to go to secret manager. But it will expect that we pass the secret name as an argument or as an environment variable and default region. And then it find the token. So if you have token, it will try to use the Boto-free library to pull the token value and assign it to the secret variable. You see, it's simplifies so much the Python. Then now I can tell about this without any edge cases, I know, any sophisticated logic. Then it's a GitHub API. So it will first create the session using request library, okay, passing those things. And it's all available in the documentations of GitHub API that we watch. Then it will fetch repo page, so session, use session, session ID, then it will pass GitHub API if we have. And then it will pick the fields. So outside of repo, so it will collect the repos. So this more, it's okay. Here we just work with the output of API. And sometimes if you want to do troubleshooting, you can also add extra logging steps that will show you like sample of what they're pulling. And there is also nice Python libraries for colorful logging. So I can ask, can I add a logging package that color logs output, and what else we want? We can call logs output. And I want to print sample of JSON output and more detailed logging. And also, I want to add doc string. If you remember what's doc string, it's just description of every Python function, doc string for every function. That's it. And later we can convert this Python script into Airflow doc, or we can use this Python script to run inside Fivetran if we want, like assuming the Fivetran doesn't have connection to GitHub. And we can use Fivetran to run even our Lambda or execute our Python script. So, and this is the level of the Python that you need to understand. You don't need to write it. Yeah, now you don't really need to write the Python, but this kind of complexity that I think is just fine. And in the model 0, I put about Python lesson, but this is just what you need to understand. So it's just a function, and you're able to see, okay, what does mean token? Token is a variable. Where is this variable coming from? It's coming from OS library. And even if I put here, yeah, it's not OS, but yeah, you just need to know OS. It's like operation systems that can get invariable variables. So if I will say expert equal hello, and then I can see, I will save it as environment variable. I can say with $ GitHub token. Yeah, it has hello. So this is how it works. And that's why for many scripts, and this is also a secure way of doing things. And often we can use .environment file like this one, where we can put all our secrets or all our things that we need. So for example, I can put it all here in .environment, and usually .file, they not parsing but AI, they part of gitignore. That's why it's convenient for us. And we can put some secrets. And if you will use .environment file, we can use another library that calls I think dot something. I will show you as soon as it's finished. But it means that now, clear, I will switch model here to Sonnet. That is cheaper. We have the model, and we have the effort. I think effort is a kind like, I don't know how much it spent tokens. So I switch to Sonnet, and what I want to say, I'm ready to work on Docker solution that will replicate the use case, but run in Docker. Copy all what you need, like Python program, requirements, txt, and so on, and create Dockerfile. And I want to run Docker command that will generate the S3 file in S3. That's it. So in here, we're adding a bit more logging and a bit more descriptions as soon as it finish. Oh, you see, it's already adding. So now I have, even in dbt models, because all dbt models creating for me with agents, I also put as much as possible information. The benefit of this, the next time that agent will come to dbt, it can read it. It has better context. Okay, and try to run our program again. Yeah, we have logging that's colorful, but something off. And then with CloudFormation, this we can feature adding AWS Batch. I don't, maybe in environment for Lambda, because definitely our IAM user doesn't have access to Lambda now, and we will need to update it. And so we can create as much resource as possible. But I think as soon as we maybe finish this, we'll take a couple more sessions. Everything, this will be like your toolbox to build any kind of, I don't know, data warehouse. Yeah, we even yet put this data into Snowflake. It's fine. Because I can add the step, and maybe from the Docker, we can modify the Python to save data into Snowflake. And the way how you can save data in Snowflake, there are many, because by default, you can copy file, same as a Redshift, but also you can, yeah, but you definitely need to copy. But how, imagine you have some data in Snowflake and new data is coming, how make sure the data is not duplicated? So you can fully reload it. You can trying to run the store procedure, and the store procedure basically can replace the, it can completely replace the dbt, the store procedures. That it's not that comfortable. I miss why it's all didn't work. Okay, token probably expired. Maybe it didn't like that I did this GitHub token thing, because in our program, it's trying to look if I have, you see, if I have GitHub token, then it's starting using this token. Okay. Something not yet work. We can see how our Docker doing. It's about to start to create the Dockerfile using Python Slim as a base. What it's doing, it's copy requirements txt. It's install everything from requirement. Basically, it's like the same what we do venv, and then people install from requirements. It's install everything, and it's copy source to source, and then entry point. And in model 0, we have the video about the Docker. So it's starting the extract, yeah, starting our program in our program builder. The good topic that it's probably didn't yet cover, the Docker has no idea about our secrets. So that's something we need to read. Yeah, it found that I set GitHub token to the wrong word. That's why. That's why it's breaking everything. Still not working. yeah, I want to make sure we can unset it. Okay, now it works. And you see, I've asked to make the logging colorful, and I asked to return the sample. This is what request library return us, right? And this is our semi-structured data. So, and I never seen any other API outside of JSON files that it returns us. So, and then we're parsing it. That's about it. Okay, and now we can go to this. Dockerfile. I think I need to replace it with the fresh version. According to the plan, we have the Docker. It's trying to see. So it's trying to assign probably secrets for the Docker. And you can see it will create a README file, how to run. Because the thing is, the Docker container, it should be appearing here eventually. It's not yet here. But I would ask about best practices, how we can passing the arguments to the Docker file. By the way, we asked to create README file as well. So this is a README file about how the program works, what each fields means. Okay. One is done. This is the Docker file. Very simple. Add a README steps. Is similar to and my plan, as soon as we finish this kind of data ingestion topic, and then I want to do infrastructure as a code, like the lesson to finish Model 5, I want to switch to Databricks, because there are some topics, especially new things they added as a lake base or lake workflows and the bundles and how code deploying. So I want to better understand this. Okay. So we have the Docker running. It will require credentials. Is how we can put our get our credentials from our configuration. It will require GitHub token if you want, but I think it should be Python code should be able to access it from Secret Manager if it has secrets with access to Secret Manager. Why Docker? To build the image. Yeah. This is how we can run it. Okay. Then I use .environment to pass the secrets while Docker is created. So it had git ignore, and usually git ignore is should not taking any .environment file, never committed. And usually we able to create okay, this one we don't need. We only need secret and access key. And this is example of the Docker command. We can run it with argument environment file. And this is how it will basically accessing all things. AWS profile. Okay. So now I just need to find credentials to fill it, and then we able to run it. So, I put it. One. Yeah, I removed the GitHub token. Everything else should be good. And now we can trying to execute the command that it asks us to execute. AWS profile. And maybe we can add here AWS profile just in case. And now AWS profile is Surfalytics Lab. The nice thing about this, you can do exactly the same in Azure and Google Cloud. Obviously, services will be different, but same idea. You can completely repeat it. Okay, now I able to run, and I think this is Surfalytics GitHub Ingest is the name of the Docker container. So I can see what's happening. I need to go inside 02. Here I have my Docker file, and now I can try to execute. Doesn't, so it failed on this. Everything good except I can ask my agent. Probably wrong the profile. Here, no, I think the file is created. Yeah, maybe it's old file. Yeah, 22 now 29. Maybe something else. It's added. I'm using from secret. Okay. What is about my profile name? And today, in terms of cost, we just create I'm user S3 bucket and CC file. So I assume it's free. Expensive is if you virtual machine or Redshift or database or Airflow, they expensive. And I think --rm means, so we're starting the program, and as soon as the program is finished, so as soon as Python file finish run, it's deleting the container. It doesn't like profile. Interesting. Still. There is a way to go to the Docker. Images. Yeah, this is the image that we created based on the Docker file, but there is no running container because it's self-terminated after. And I think the idea of the Docker that it's self-terminating after it finished the program. That's why very often in Airflow, we're using dbt core. It's my favorite question in you. If you have dbt core, how do you host it? And it's usually hosted as a container, as an image. So Airflow calling this image, make it runnable. It's run. As soon as it's finished run, dbt container just disappearing. Very cost efficient. So we can see what we have here. So Python work up. It's commands that it's executed. Packages. It doesn't have. I don't see logs. But what I can do, I can also slightly modify my Docker container to make it runnable and not finishing. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with profile. First, I want to make it succeeded, and then I want to go and log in inside. Okay. How can I open Bash in my Docker? So I can now run this command, and I'm inside my container. This is how we can continue the work. So you see this container now is active because I'm inside. I can go source cd source c ls. We have the Python program. I can also try to see environment variables. With env, it's sync, so it's shown region, AWS secret key, access key. I think only profile is. I think the challenge might be we might don't have AWS CLI configured, and there is no profile itself because we never configured it. So I can share this idea with them. I'm inside of container, and we probably don't have any profile for AWS figured at all. And we don't need it, probably. Yeah, we probably don't need, because that's the difference from the local run. We don't need the profile. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, line is a problem. Fix to default no. So it's removing the AWS profile from the code. And now it suggests me you can run Docker build. So because we changed their image, and it suggests me, so I can exit it. I can rebuild. And I think Docker PS is showing me all the images I have. And some of them pretty heavy. So I rebuilt the image. So it's a kind of like snapshot of these configuration files. If you change the file, obviously you need to rebuild the image. And now I can run this command. Yeah, it is uploaded. So we successfully did this as a container. And now what I want to do, maybe just start it with a new AWS Lambda. So I want to put my file executable in the Lambda now, because the downside of the Docker, we need still host it somewhere. Lambda, and I can go and say clear. I want to move to the next exercise. Exercise. Yes, I want to take my file from here and make sure we can create a Lambda and run this Python. And you do this. So Lambda is a serverless function. It can run our files. It has many restrictions in terms of time, especially timeout, how long it can run the file. I think we can ask what is AWS Lambda? How long it and from Python. This is Raycast, by the way, and it's connecting to my API key from Cloud. I have hot button on the mouse, so to open these, and it's the nice thing. It's Raycast chat window always on top of all kinds of application. Yes, serverless compute, event-driven, auto-scaling, pay-per-use. How long? Default timeout 3 seconds, maximum 15 minutes, you see. So it's not for heavy. And it's also really on heavy. So memory up to 10 gigabytes. But if you're going to use DuckDB and Polars, they're really memory efficient. So you can process more data than 10 gigabytes. And they have, yeah, you can execute 1,000 per concurrent things, lambdas. What is doing now? Interesting. It creates the Lambda Dockerfile. So if I want to create a simple Lambda from VS Code, what my steps? So they even suggest using VS Code toolkit. So we can connect VS Code to AWS. We can create simple Lambda function in the Python, okay? Then we will need to have execution role for Lambda. And this is another best practices. Ideally, for every service, you have own role. And then each role has own permissions, and then you can connect them each other. So it's like part of best practices. But we can still use the same role. But our role, we need to ask to extend the permissions to be able execute Lambdas. And then we can deploy Lambda. So to deploy Lambda, we can do simple AWS Lambda create function. That's basically take our file, and I think it's push to the Lambda, or we can upload it. And I wanted to ask, what is about serverless? There is another way to deploy Lambda, serverless YAML file to deploy. Serverless file to deploy Lambda, because in some companies they use heavy on Lambdas, they can use serverless to kind of like deploy it. And in our case, what we can see, it's starting. I don't need this. But it's starting to create the Docker files. I don't know why. It's basically want to create, I don't know, it want to pull image from Elastic Compute Registry. It's where we can save our Docker images, and then install everything. I don't know, execute. This is one of the methods to host your custom Docker, but I don't think it's the good one. So what I want to do, I don't want to use this method. Instead, I want just deploy my Python and create the Lambda. Simple way. I know that sometimes if you really rely on Lambda and you need complicated workflows, then you can use Docker. But in this case, I'm not sure why you need Lambda if you want to run the Docker container there. Yeah, this is a response about serverless. So it's an npm package where you can, and maybe we can have two options for Lambda. First, very simple, with AWS CLI to deploy Lambda. And the second is to serverless, just to have the same and compare them. I think this is more like production way of deploying Lambda. And we can see, I never built the ETL with Lambda myself. I only like sometimes use it. That's why I know how to use it, but don't know where to start. So it create deploy script. And we need to also ask to update our infrastructure files. So this deploy thing, pandas layer. Yeah, I think in Lambda also, if you want to install additional packages that not exist by default, there is the whole like quest to do it. Not the whole quest, but extra steps. And here we're going to build the package. Build it. Let me remove it. And we need to update permissions. So updating permissions and removing the file. Okay, and here I need to push to the Docker git status. Just to make sure we don't put any files. And then we have Lambda, we can build, also train on CI/CD process, how we can go and test and deploy, assuming if you have scheduled ETL that's running daily, then you can also adding CI process continuous integrations, then it will test and run Lambda in staging environment to make sure that nothing breaks. Okay. Yeah, I think 10 more minutes and we done for today. And I will have the record. Okay. Okay. Have the guide step by step with me for deploying Lambda Since I do this first time and add some fury. Because I think from these we can expand to anything. Like then we come to Airflow, we can try Airflow, manage Airflow, we can try to host Airflow on ECS. Yeah, we can have Snowflake, Redshift, Athena, Glue. So you can grow any kind of solution out of this. And every folder is a dedicated pattern to building the infrastructure. Also, there is CloudWatch for monitoring. There is alerting if something fails to the Slack. So all those little patterns. Okay, we edit the file. So the file have what is Lambda, how it compares to the previous weeks. So it's even comparing. Okay. Lambda execution model, prerequisites. Okay, let's try to see. Yeah, we have this. It's the files, same script as before. Okay, we updated, looks like requirements to, oh no, requirements the same, but it also pulling somewhere additional pandas numpy from Lambda layer. What is Lambda layer? It zip of libraries, and it basically mounts them as a external packages to call it and use it. And it's use available SDK pandas that has some libraries. So, and then we can deploy it. Let's try to deploy. Invalid path template. Oh, it's deploy stack. So the stack was deployed with, or it's create probably dedicated IAM role. Let's create dedicated IAM role. Okay. The deployment, get Lambda RAN. See if it was deployed. Doesn't have enough permission. And then there is finally deployment. So we create this new IAM role instead of using our existing one. And then we use this role to deploy. So now we just need to be able to deploy our Python. We just need to be able to make sure we have all the permissions. I can see. See if it's gonna deploy it. So there is some issues with permissions. CF CloudFormation deploying and all permissions works. Yeah, it's missing permissions, obviously. That's why I didn't want to create new role and assign all kind of policy to role. I want to use the existing one, but it's decided to create the role. Okay, let's build it now. See if it's gonna work. Still not working. Because as soon as we finish this, the next Lambda I want to use first to deploy it with npm package, and second I want to update the Python script to use DuckDB or Polars to manipulate the data. I think we will use PyDuckDB, and then we can pointing the data to AWS Lambda, to Snowflake, and then we can schedule it. And we can also try to look any other GitHub API endpoint that has date start, date end, maybe to run it on schedule. So it asked me to go and attach policies directly. Why I need to go there if there is file? And it's now running IAM commands instead of CloudFormation. So policy should be defined in CloudFormation. Should you keep CF permissions? Yeah, I think we're a bit messy with permissions now. So what I will do, I will git add, git commit git push. So I will push because I need to go and push. So you can probably try to play a bit with the Lambda if you decide to do this. But Lambda is not that popular in data engineering, like in real production. But very often, especially small startups, somehow people just like to use Lambda to running the ETL, and it's good use case to talk during the interview about Lambda and understand overall serverless Lambda to run your Pythons, and how you can, the challenge, how you install the package, how long it can run with timeouts, and so on. Yes, we local if root. Yeah, agent forgot that I have admin profile to execute it, and it's tried to execute maybe this stack with itself. So now it should deploy everything. So the key point here is then you work with agents, it's better to trying to keep context, because what I didn't do for this repo, I didn't create the, for example, Claude rules or just agents MD file or Claude MD file that will describe what we're trying to achieve in this repo, telling them that I have this default AWS profile local with admin access that I'm using to deploy CloudFormations for Surfalytics lab, and all the things. Every new session, it's missing the all previous history and it doesn't have any context. That's why it's very important to have, and I will add this later. So this HSMD. If I would add this from the beginning with instructions and my local setup, we will avoid so many like issues we have here. Okay, let's wait, then it just finish it. So it's now running deploy of new CloudFormation. So I think it's adding a lot of new things here. It's even trying to create the bucket that already exists. Totally a bit mess up. And we have context, for example. We can see how much it costs. Or maybe no, maybe context shows how much it filled. Okay, now it's running to deploy formation, but at 1 p.m. I need to go. So see you everyone. I will upload these records, give steps, and I will share the link. And tomorrow Sergey will walk us over, I think, Airflow and Snowflake, or just Snowflake, and then we keep going on this one. Yeah, sorry. Thank you everyone, and sorry it took very long time, but we'll have now as a reference for future. Yeah, see you everyone.
Thanks for sharing.